Hello, everybody. Hello. Welcome to Money Monday. It's Cheree Money down here. So excited to talk today about loans for house hackers. So, if you want to know about house hacking, what it is, we're going to talk about how house hacking benefits wealth. We're going to talk about can you even qualify to buy a home and do it through house hacking, what kind of properties work for house hacking. We're going to talk about what lenders are looking for, top mistakes to avoid when house hacking, and what you want to do in the next 30 days if you want to purchase a house and do it through house hacking. So, ChereeTheMoneyLady.com is where you can find all sorts of links that are available. Whether you want to book consultation time with me, talk about something else besides house hacking, and the loans that are available. We have free live training, so you can get the Zoom links there and all sorts of stuff. All right. So, first of all, this conversation is for people who are first time home buyers. Maybe you're a young professional. You want to get started in investing, but you don't necessarily want to put a lot of money down. This is the right conversation for you. So, what we're going to be covering, we already talked about house hacking today. So, what's the definition of house hacking, first of all? House hacking is when you have multiple people living together. So you have one primary person, or maybe it's you and a spouse that actually owns the house, and then you rent out either the basement or you rent out rooms, or there's an accessory dwelling unit and you're renting that out, and somebody's paying you rent. Thus, your total housing costs reduce because you are renting out part of your house while you actually live there. So, house hacking could also be buying a duplex, buying a triplex, buying a fourplex. You are able to buy these types of properties for as little as 0% down, depending on where you buy them, how your loan is structured, things like that. Most people can get into these properties though for 3 to 5% down. So you want to think about that. So, how house hacking builds wealth. You are paying your monthly mortgage, and you are able to actually, depending on where you purchase, actually benefit from that appreciation. So, you can benefit from the appreciation. You can take the extra money that the person, your renter, is giving you and add it to the principal payment of your mortgage. You can take that extra money and put it into the stock market, put it into other types of investments, things like that. So it is a great way for you to actually leverage real estate and use real estate in order to build wealth. You know, the rents that you receive, depending on how you set them up in your taxes, it does help you qualify for future investment properties. And you could also live in the property for a year, move to another property, and turn that first property into a total rental. So, again, house hacking, great way for my investment minded people to think about actually getting into a house, purchasing your first home or your next home. Um, some people can live rent free, some people can live at a discount, and you can repeat the strategy every year or two. So we had this conversation. We talked about this. How do you know if you can qualify for house hacking? Well, the first thing is you do not need to be rich. You don't need to be rich in order to house hack. Basically, uh, if you have either income from a W 2 or income from a business, or if you have a certain amount of assets, there are even asset loans that are available for you. So you can again get in for minimal amounts of money down. Minimum credit score for FHA loans is 580. I do suggest you have a little bit higher um, credit score, but we can talk with you. We can do a soft pull of your credit in order to see if you have the minimum requirements with regards to credit and debt and income so that you can purchase this property. If you're buying a property that is a single unit or two unit, then you have to be able to afford the entire mortgage on your own. We cannot, and this is across any lender, this is not just Cheree, we cannot consider any um, of the rental income that you expect as part of your income. So you do have to be able to afford the entire property on your own. If you're buying a triplex or a fourplex, then we can include 75% of that expected rental income as part of your income. So, just in plain terms, that means that if you're buying a fourplex, you're buying 4 units, you're going to live in one, you're going to rent out the other 3. Let's say each of those units you're going to rent for $1,000 each. So that means that we're able to calculate and include $750 for each of those units. We can add that to your income. Okay, so that'll be $2,250 that we're able to then add to your income. Again, we can only do that for a triplex or a fourplex. You can't buy more than a fourplex, otherwise, it's commercial property. Got to put a lot more money down. So, um, but you are able to do that. So, let's see here. What kind of properties work for house hacking? What kind of properties work for house hacking? Um, Multi-units, we already talked about duplex, triplex, fourplex. You can do homes with basements. You can do homes with garage apartments. So we've seen people fix up garage apartments. My boss actually went down to Florida. He spent a couple of months down there, and somebody took their garage and turned it into a 2-bedroom apartment, and it was attached to the property. So you could do attached, you could do detached. Detached are accessory dwelling units, ADUs. um, but those are possible as well. And you are starting to get lenders that are willing to fund ADUs because there's such a housing crisis in America, right? Um, Other great places and properties that work well for house hacking is anything near a university, anything near public transportation where either young professionals would want to live or the working class who, don't necessarily have a car. They would need to ride public transportation. Any place near hospital would also work well. Um, And again, don't overlook townhomes with basement rentals or separate entrances. So that's a big thing. Um, so top mistakes to avoid. Top mistakes to avoid. Only thinking short term. So this is a wealth building strategy. If you only think short term, then you're not going to get the full benefit of buying a house hacking, and enjoying the long term appreciation. So that's number one. Number two, skipping the math. Skipping the math. If you're going to house hack, it's important for us to know as the um, your investor friendly lender that you're going to do that, so we can run the numbers for you with regards to your ability to purchase and afford the home, as well as what the net cash flow is going to be for you when you bring that other renter on. So either you want your investor friendly agent to help you with that, or you want your investor friendly realtor to help you with that. Also, the other big thing with this, and another mistake that people make, is they file their taxes in such a way that when they want to buy the next property and they want to either move up or move over to another property, they have filed their taxes in such a way that disqualifies them for buying the next property. So all I'm going to say, I'm not going to go into it here, is go to ChereeTheMoneyLady.com and schedule a 15-minute consultation, and I'll kind of show you what I'm talking about and some of the things that you can do to avoid that error. Another mistake is not planning for vacancies or repairs. So, whenever you are purchasing a home, whether you're going to live there on your own or whether you're going to live with family or you're going to bring in somebody in house hack, you do want to have a reserve account, whether it's cash, whether it's in a money market account, stock account, or even, can I say, a credit card if it's necessary. Have some money saved for repairs. Definitely have money saved for vacancy. This is part of the reason why we as the lender, we want to make sure that you can afford the home on your own without depending on that renter. Okay. So you do want to account for vacancies as well. So the lender accounts for 2 months of vacancies, but one thing about house hacking is you want to be picky about who's living with you under your roof. Even if you have a separate entrance or an ADU, that person's still living on your property. It could be, you're a single woman. It could be that you have kids that's living with you as well. So you just want to be careful about that, right? Another mistake to avoid is buying in an area where rents are too low to make this house hacking work. People tend to like to want a house hack in the next neighborhood up. So that's just something to think about. Next thing is, of course, not talking to a lender who understands house hacking, understands the numbers about house hacking, understands the rules. There's different rules with regards to the guidelines that we have to follow to get you approved for the loan versus like what you're going to be doing from an investment point of view. And we want to make sure that you have both covered. So what do you need to do in the next 30 days in order to be successful if you're thinking about purchasing a house and house hacking? Number one is book a mortgage strategy. If you go to ChereeTheMoneyLady.com, on my website, there is a place for you to book a 15-minute consultation with me. If you decide to go with somebody else, I perfectly understand. But I hope that you would come and speak with us. Step number two is we're going to do a soft pull of your credit and we're going to review your credit and we're going to create a customized plan for you. That's going to be the maximum amount of house that you can afford. What do the numbers look like? What do you want to do in order to prepare yourself to be mortgage ready, if that's where you are in life, etc. Step number three, you're going to start scouting areas and types of homes that make sense. Not all homes make sense for house hacking. So you want to, again, work with an agent, an investor friendly agent that understands house hacking, who can help you find a place where it's going to make sense and where you're going to get the best pool of people based on your requirements, what you're looking for in a house, etc. So, and number four is if you are in like Reston, Virginia, someplace like that, we have a group called GRID, GRID, is gridinvestor.com. And you're able to come and network with other investors. So that's a great way. I can even introduce you to a guy called the House Hack King. His name is Mike Weber. You're going to love him. And overall, you're going to just have an ability to learn from other investors. So you don't have to wait 5 years, 6 years, 10 years in order to be able to purchase a home. You can potentially do it right away. So I would definitely encourage you to think about house hacking. Speak with me if you want to learn more about your options, ChereeTheMoneyLady.com. And yeah, other than that, that is it for Money Monday. Thank you so much for listening. And I look forward to serving all of you with regards to your real estate financing needs. Okay, thanks. Bye, everybody.